So thank you so much for joining this Empower Financing live session. My name is Claire Almand, and I'm an Associate Director of Marketing here. And actually, I've been here a little over 6 years, which is crazy. But something that's always really impressed me about Empower is that we're a company of former international students on a mission to make the lives and the education journey of future international students better, more successful, fulfilled than we experienced when we were in school. So thank you all for joining. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through our application walkthrough with Suryaveer here. And then Silver is also going to talk through a little bit more about the MPOWER loan, who we are, what we do, and who is eligible. And then Ron, who's having a little bit of some technical difficulties, will also go through some, what the expected return on investment is, as well as how we make loan decisions. So we're really excited to answer your questions today. Just to give you some tips to get the most out of this live session, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see something that says Q&A. And so Q&A is where we want to receive your questions at any point through this session. Just drop it there and we'll get back to you with some of our staff members on hand. If you have a very specific question about your application with us, it's hard for us to answer those on the fly. We have to look up your case to give you a great answer. So because of that, if you have one of those really specific questions, it's best if you lose your email address associated with your MPOWER account so we can look you up after this and get back to you. But just a heads up that those really specific questions are harder for us to answer live. My last tip is that if you have a question, I would ask it earlier rather than later. If you wait to the last 5 minutes, it's a little hard for us to get back to you quickly. So those are my tips, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So just to learn a little bit more about you, I'm going to launch a poll. So give me a second. Ron, great to have you. We missed you. Great. So I've launched a poll, and so we'll let you answer that while our esteemed panelists tell you just a little bit more about themselves. And so I'm going to start with Silver. Silver, do you mind introducing yourself for our group today?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Silver Yang. I'm the marketing manager at MPOWER Financing. I'm from China. I came to study in the US for my master's degree, and I successfully landed a job in this country afterward. And I have been working and living in Washington, D.C. for about 8 years. Very happy to be here to introduce MPOWER and answer your questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Silver. Suryaveer, will you introduce yourself for our audience? We'll leave Ron to last.
Sure, Claire. Thank you for letting me in. So, hi all. This is Suryaveer. I am team lead in customer relation and with MPOWER from last 2 years. It's been a wonderful journey till now while assisting thousands of students and in their application submission till the end of the, approvals and decisions. And it has been a roller coaster ride while seeing that how MPOWER help each and every applicants and guide them into the future, what they are aiming and what they are dreaming of. So it's been a phenomenal journey till now, and looking forward for assisting more.
Thank you so much. And so last but not least, Ron, can you introduce yourself for our audience today?
Hey everyone, my name is Ron, and so my name is Ron, and I'm currently an underwriter in the underwriting team. I currently lead the team, and a little bit of background about me. I came to the US in 2015. I was an international student like most people here. And I did a master's in finance, and I graduated from university in 2017. After I graduated, MPOWER was actually my first job in the US. So I've been working with the company for around 6 years now. And during that time, I've done multiple roles in underwriting. And so that's a little bit background about me, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm really looking forward to answer any questions that I can help you guys out with. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. I am looking at this poll, and it looks like we're still waiting on about 30% of you to answer, which means you have until the end of my very long sentence to go submit this poll so we can learn just a little bit more about you. And I think this is all I have in terms of this sentence, so I'm going to end the poll. Great. And so I'm also going to share the results as well. And so today it looks like 79% of you are from Africa. It's actually one of our top regions. So, always great to see that representation here, followed by South and Southeast Asia. Many of us actually are working from India right now. So excited to have you here as well at 14%. East Asia at 3%, tied with North America at 3%. And then we have some people as well from Europe. Great to have all of you here. In terms of where you are in your education journey, it seems about half of you are still thinking about studying. That means you're preparing really early, which is great. That's actually typically one of our key pieces of advice is to get started early. So wonderful. And then a good 26% of you have applied to school, but you're still waiting to hear back. Best of luck. 17% of you have been accepted to study. Congratulations. And then last, 6% of you are currently enrolled. The good news is MPOWER Financing has products for all of you, or we help students at every stage of the student journey. And so we'll have some information that's relevant for every person here, no matter where you are. Last, by last, I mean 3. It looks like we have 5 questions today. Which career field do you want to study in? This time, it looks like business management administration, our MBAs get a good 34% as our winning degree type, followed by engineering, manufacturing, and tech at a good 23%. That means about half of you are doing an MBA or something in STEM. Then we have health science technology, communication information systems behind that, and then, of course, liberal arts and agriculture. Which country do you want to study in? It's actually a tie today. That's unusual. Great to see. So about 42% for the USA, 41% for Canada, and then 18% are interested in both. And then last, have you referred a friend to MPOWER? Yes. At 35%. I will do so soon at 46%. Amazing. And would like to know more about it. We will definitely tell you more about it today. Never fear. Excellent. So I'm going to stop sharing and I will stop talking. I'll turn it over to Silver, who's going to tell you a bit more about the MPOWER loan. And so Silver, we have a lot of people here today that are still thinking about studying, over half. And so they might not know much about MPOWER and what we do. And so maybe we can start there. Do you mind telling everyone here just a little bit more about MPOWER?
Sure. So MPOWER is a public benefit corporation. We provide financial support to international students who are often overlooked by mainstream banks. In the US, about 13% of all Americans borrow federal student loans to go to colleges. But when it comes to international students, that they face lots of barriers. International students are often not eligible for federal student loans or private loans without cosigner or collateral. So MPOWER's mission is to bridge this gap. We work with more than 400 universities and colleges in the US and Canada to provide funding to international students like you to assist your higher education in the US or Canada. So we specialized in providing you the loans without a need for a cosigner or collateral. To do that, instead of solely focusing on your past financial history or your family's or your co-signers' financial situations, we evaluate your future earning potentials based on your academic performance. For example, we want to review your GPA, your English test scores for us to approve your loan application. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. So, people always want to know who can apply for an MPOWER loan. Do you mind going into greater detail about who is eligible for our loan?
Sure. So to qualify for MPOWER loan, that you must meet our eligibility requirements. So there are 3 parts of it. So the first one is that you need to attend or get accepted to one of our eligible schools. As what I mentioned earlier, that currently we support students studying at over 400 universities or colleges across the US and Canada. So there's a high chance that we've got you covered. And the second part of the requirement is that you need to be within 2 years of graduating or about to begin a 1 or 2 year program. which means that if you want to study in the US, for example, for your bachelor's degree, and then we can get you covered for the last 2 years of your degree. And if you want to come to the US to study a master degree that within 2 years of graduating, and then you can apply for MPOWER loan even before you get enrolled into your school. So once you get your offer, that you can start your application with MPOWER. And the third part of the requirement is about your immigrant status. You need to be an international student or a DACA recipient or US citizen or refugee or asylum seeker, or all of those immigration status I just mentioned are eligible. So start your application now, and we will get you covered.
Thank you, Silver. So earlier in your intro about MPOWER, you talked a little bit about some of our features that make us awesome, and we know we're awesome, but I'm hoping you can go in some greater detail about some of our benefits. And so turning it back over to you about describe just a little bit more about our loan.
Sure. I prepared some slides for that. Okay. I think everybody can see my screen. So as MPOWER, we want to empower international students to fund their overseas education independently. So with this objective in mind, the product we are offering is very different from traditional banks or many other lenders. The first one is that we have this feature. We do not need cosigner or collateral. This allows you to apply for a loan independently without involving your family, without having someone as your cosigner. We can do that because our unique credit model evaluates your academic performance to estimate your future earning potential, not solely reviewing your financial situations. So this is a very different approach than traditional banks. And the second feature that sets us apart from other lenders is that we are the only company in the world that provides fixed interest rate to international students without a cosigner. So fixed interest rate means your rate remains the same throughout the entire time while you repay the loan. So even if the global interest rate increase, as we always see on the news these days, your rate with MPOWER will never increase. So this makes your financial planning really easy since your payments will not change over the long term. And the third feature is that we offer an educational loan in US dollars, which means that we disperse US dollars directly to your school. And this means this can help you to protect you from inflation or changes in foreign currency value, which means with an MPOWER loan that you don't risk arriving overseas with less US dollar or Canada dollar than you thought. Other than all of those, I also want to talk about how much you can borrow from MPOWER and what can you use your loan for. So our loan can be used to pay for your tuition at any of our eligible schools. And if you're attending a school in the US, you can also use the fund to cover living expenses. And the loan amount you can borrow in each application is very flexible. You can apply as low as $2,001 per application and up to a $100,000 lifetime limit.
Silver, this is so amazing, all the features our loan offers, but I know we do more than just a loan. Actually, we do a lot more. Do you mind telling everyone about the many other benefits of working with MPOWER? I have applying with a loan with MPOWER. I'm actually working with MPOWER too, but we'll keep that in a different webinar.
Yeah, sure. So we are very mission driven, that we want to use all of our effort and our time to commit to help students in any way possible. So to do that, we offer several fantastic programs to help you succeed in your study and career overseas. And the first program is that Refer a Friend to MPOWER program. So I see the poll that Claire put at the beginning of this webinar that many of you actually already refer a friend to Empower. This is great. So for those people who wants to know more about this program, it's quite simple. So for every successful referral, you get $300 and your friend gets $100. So how to refer a friend? You need to visit our refer a friend webpage. I think one of our chat moderators probably already sent a link in the chat box. And so go to that page and create your unique referral link or referral code. And second is to have your friend use your link or code to submit a loan application with Empower. And after they've done that, once your friend's application gets approved and they accept the loan terms, your friend will get the $300. And once your friend decides to take the loan, you will get a $100 referral reward. And you do not need to be an Empower customer to refer a friend. Anyone can refer a friend to Empower, and there's no limit on how many referrals can you make. So that's our fantastic referral program. And the second program is our merit-based scholarship programs. We offer scholarships with awards of up to $10,000 per person. We have like 5 signature scholarships, including our Global Citizen scholarships, our Women in STEM scholarships that encourage more women to study in the STEM field. We have a scholarship for MBA, scholarships for refugee, and also we have a scholarship for Chinese students who are pursuing a graduate degree in the US or Canada. It's called Chasing Dreams Never Ends Scholarship. And in addition, each month we host a contest where you can win a share of $4,000 in scholarship awards. So to apply to our scholarship, similar to the eligibility requirement of our loan, that first you need to be accepted or enrolled in one of our 400 plus eligible schools. And second is that you must have a valid visa to study in the US or Canada. And third, this is not a requirement, it's a benefit, is that you do not need to be an Empower Loan customer to apply for a scholarship. And each scholarship have different criteria and deadlines. So to know more, go visit our scholarship page. I'm sure you will see the link in the chat box too. And so you can know more detail there. And the third program we offer is the Path to Success program. This is decided to support you in job search, immigration resources, and money management while you study and working in the US or Canada. So this is free for all of our loan customers. Once you decide to take our loan, that you're automatically enrolled in this program. So how it works is that we have monthly Path to Success live sessions. You will get the invite once you get enrolled in this program. And we also offer one-on-one career coaching that you can get individualized support through virtual coaching office hours and one-on-one sessions. Once your loan is dispersed, you will receive a welcome email in your inbox. These are the 3 fantastic programs we offer to help you succeed.
I have one fun fact too. Anyone can refer a friend, not just Empower borrowers. So anyone here can refer a friend if you have someone interested in a loan. So don't feel like it's just a customer referral program. Anyone is eligible. Scholarships, you also don't need to be an Empower customer. They are only for international students, as in you can't be a US citizen or Canadian citizen. But outside that, anyone can apply. So we encourage it. Last, the Path to Success program is for Empower customers. So I just wanted to clarify what you might be eligible for actually right now before even proceeding with Empower. But Silver, thank you so much for reviewing that with everyone. I'm going to shift it over to Ron, who will be sharing his screen as well. And Ron's going to tell you more about the return on investment you can expect from a loan. We get some common feedback where, people, when they go look to pay for their education, they might get worried, will I be able to pay this off later? There's some anxiety there. And we want to encourage you. We know we can, like many of us did. So Ron, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk more through this.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen, and in this on my screen, I'm going to take you through an example of a person working and what kind of different choices they can either make, either continue working in the same country and just go forward, versus what could go into the US and getting a US education and finding a job there later. How would it work out? We also go through a little bit in the opportunity cost of how much it would cost, things like that. And the last thing we'll also go through is like an example of like how this person's life would be different if they stay in their home country versus if they went to the US to pursue an education. So let me just share my screen and then we can get started. Okay, so this is the example that we have. So Asha is a student who's currently in India, and currently she works as a junior data analyst in Bangalore, and she makes around $7,000 a year. And this is in 2022. This example is a little bit dated. We'll need to update this, but yeah, this can be updated anyway. So she takes a year to study, and she decides to apply for grad school in the US. So in 2023, she's admitted to her master's program. She gets into the Illinois Institute of Technology, and she decides to do a master's in computer science. So when she looks at her bank account, she decides, okay, if I have to do this master's in computer science, she sees that she has $15,000 worth of savings that she saved over the past 3-4 years when she was working in Bangalore, and she also got some scholarships. But to cover her entire tuition cost, she still requires a loan because everyone knows education in the US is a little bit expensive. So she requires a $40,000 loan to actually cover her entire tuition and also cost of attendance in the US. But what happens is in 2025, after she goes to school for 2 years, she graduates, and she does pretty well in school. She's hired as a computer systems engineer, and she's making around $97,000, and she begins working towards probably settling in the US, earning points towards a permanent residency, and like kind of basically getting settled and like figuring things out after getting a job in the US. So the couple of points that I wanted to cover here is, if Asha did not go to the US and get a master's degree there, she would probably still continue living in Bangalore. She would be making $7,000. In the 3 years from 2022 to 2025, her salary would probably increase by 30 to 50% in 3 to 5 years. And so she would probably be making around $12,000 to $15,000 there. And so that's the opportunity cost that she could have done. Like, she won't have to do that. But when she decided to go to the US, when you see she started making $97,000 of salary, and she will pretty easily be able to pay off a $40,000 student loan that she took out before starting a master's in probably 6 to 8 years, because that would be around I think around a $300 or $400 monthly payment she would have to make every month to clear this loan in 10 years. And so that's what Asha decides to do. And if anyone has any other questions, you guys can let me know. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. And so Silver spoke a bit about what MPOWER is as a company, or a loan company if you join late. We help students finance their education. Ron walked through a typical example of someone who goes abroad and what the return on investment looks like. And now Suryaveer is going to go through our application, or sort of the meat of this webinar. But before he gets started in a second, I see a lot of people joined recently. So just a few tips. I see a lot of people raising their hand. So if you want to interact with us, we love it. Please look at the bottom of your screen and look for that Q&A button. Please ask us your questions, and we'll get back to you during this session. If you have a very specific question about your loan application, it's harder for us to look up your case during the live session. We need a bit more information and time. So please go ahead and leave us your email address associated with your application, and then also give us more detail about what help you need. And that way we can get back to you right after this session. So hopefully that helps. And Suryaveer, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure, Claire. First of all, thank you, Silver and Ron, for a fantastic overview of our product and services and how the calculations are made. So I'll go forward with the application walkthrough. Let me know if my screen is visible. Just give me a second. Is it visible? Yeah, great. So MPOWER has few quick steps that you can follow and make your application completely submitted. Now, I'll go one by one with each step, but let's start with the overview of what are these basic steps while submitting your application with MPOWER. Now, the first thing is that whenever you go to MPOWER portal and click on check eligibility, it will ask you regarding your personal basic details and the school and the program you are going to enroll with to understand whether you are meeting all our eligibility criteria or not. And once you have met our eligibility criteria, we'll move ahead to the next step, which will ask regarding your basic information like your name, address, and your contact details. Then the third step is asking about the details of the program and the university you are enrolling in. If you are an existing student or you are going to start your program first time, then you would need to mention the details accordingly. And once you have mentioned your program details, the fourth step is about providing your financial requirements and your cost of tuitions. So you need to mention that whatever cost of program you are having, like it can include your tuition, it can include your living expenses, and also if you have any cost related to books and supplies or health insurances. Once you have made all the details of your financial information mentioned in your application, the final step is to provide your ID, a valid ID, photo ID on us. It can be a passport or any national ID from the country you belong. And once all these steps are completed, your application will be submitted successfully. Now, we'll deep dive into each of these categories so that you have an overview of how it actually looks like while you are submitting the application. And I'll try to give you some more scenarios about each application case by case basis so that if you are that specific student, you would be able to relate yourself with the application walkthrough. Okay. Now, coming to the first step, so once you click on check your eligibility, the first concern or the first question the MPOWER asks is about what brings you to MPOWER. So are you thinking of studying? Have you applied to school but haven't been accepted? Have been accepted at a school but haven't enrolled? I'm currently enrolled at a school. And the last option is I'm currently enrolled at a school but I'm transferring to another school. Now I'll give you the understanding of each of these options so that you select the right one according to your requirements. Now the first one is that you have not enrolled with any of the universities and you are just planning to seek education in US or Canada, and even you have not sure about the university and you are just shortlisting about those. So that's the time you go ahead with the first option that I'm thinking about studying. Then the second option, where it means that I've applied to school but haven't been accepted, completely means that you have shortlisted now a few of the schools that you are more interested to go with as per your education in US or Canada. And you have to mention that specific school here. So you have to shortlist. So if you have shortlisted any schools, but you have not been accepted yet, you have just applied for admission, that's the second option you have to use. The third option confirms that you have applied and the school has accepted your enrollment and your admission, but you haven't enrolled yet, meaning that you have not started your program. Your program will start in a couple of months, but your admission has been accepted by the university. So that's the option that you would need to select in the third scenario. The fourth scenario says that you are already enrolled and you're currently studying with that university. Mostly this happens if you are applying for your last year or the last 2 years if you are a bachelor student. So you would need to select that particular option while you are submitting or checking your eligibility check. The last option is that you are already in US, or even you are in your home country, but you are now transferring half of your program or remaining part of your program to a different school in US or Canada. So that is the option that you would need to select, the last one, where you will be considered as a transfer student. Now, once you have mentioned anyone picked up any of the options related to your requirements, then the next step, it asks you about what is your anticipated graduation date. So because, as you are aware, one of our eligibility is that the student must be completing the program within 2 years of the term start selected date. So if your program is going to be, if it is going to start in fall 2023, it should end by fall 2025. So that's within 2 years. So you would need to select your anticipated graduation date according to your program. So how many programs, or what's the length of your program? Then you would need to select which program you are enrolling with. Is it a master? Is it an MBA? It is a PhD, bachelor's? Any relatable option that suits your requirement, you would need to select one of them. Then if you are an existing student, it will ask you that what is your current GPA. So if you are already enrolled in that university that you are applying for, so we would like to know how has been your academic performance to give us more insights about who and how as a performer you are in terms of your education. So you would need to select your estimated GPA if you have not received your grades right now, but you are aware that this is going to be the closest GPA you have. Or if you have already received your GPA, then you can mention the accurate one here as well. Now, once you have mentioned those details, the next step would be to confirm your first name and the last name. Now, I would recommend here is that while submitting your first name and last name, please go as per your valid photo ID, because sometimes if you put all the details in your first name or in the last name, it creates a lot of confusion for us while doing the application review as well. So I would always recommend to select what is available in your ID. So there are certain scenarios where your name has been changed after we have a lot of applicants who are married as well, and few of them has their name changed. So whatever is there is on your ID, we would recommend you to select that as your first and the last name, so that we can complete your review process properly. Once you have mentioned that, then the second step here is to mention the country you belong from. So you would need to mention the passport country that you are from. So if you are a dual citizen, then you would need to mention the current country you are enrolled or you are living with. But if you are an international student with only one citizenship, that's the answer for you. So you have to mention your home country here, which is there on your passport, then going forward with your permanent address. So a lot of student gets confused here, considering their permanent address as the current address, but I would recommend you to select your permanent address as the address which is from your home country. So as you are an international student, you need to mention the permanent address that belongs to your home country. Now, let's just say you are away from your home country from more than 3 years or 4 years, then you can send us the details about it and we can consider that as an exception. But usually if you are in your home country in last 1 year, then we would recommend you to provide your permanent address details. In any case, that if you do not have a document which confirms that whether you are the owner of that property or you are currently staying there, so you can also use your parents or relatives details here, and where if you are staying with your parents, you can mention your parents, and we have certain other requirements of the documents that you would need to provide, but that address can also be considered. So please remember to put your permanent address correctly here, and once you have done that, then you can select if you would like us to contact you on WhatsApp. If your number is registered on WhatsApp, then you can mention the same. Again, after that, you would need to select the immigration status. Now, if you are an international student, you would definitely select the first option, which is non-citizen. So that will be going forward. And these are more critical information, because if you have selected any wrong informations here, you might need or you might be asked to submit a new application again. So while submitting these details, please be cautious about these information. So if you are a DACA resident or if you are an asylum seeker, you would need to select those options. If you are a US citizen or Canadian citizen, you would need to select the permanent resident over there. And the second option it asks you is, do you already have a visa to study in United States? So if you are an existing student, yes, you can select. So if you are already in US, yes, you would need to select yes. But if you are an international student coming for the first time, then the option would be no here. Uh, After that, it will ask you to select the type of visa you are applying for. So mostly all the international students who are applying for the first time, they have to go with F1 visa. But if you are dependents or you are already in US or you are a transfer student, then your visa status would be slightly different. So you can select the best suitable option available on the screen. Once you have selected these informations, the third step will ask you the more detailed informations regarding the school and your employments. Now, starting with the degree. So if you have selected masters, then it would be asking you to select what kind of major you are opting for. So you need to mention the program that you are enrolled in. So once you will start typing here, you would also be able to pick one of the best suitable options in the drop down while applying for the application. So you can pick one of the best suitable option meeting your major requirements. And if you are doing a dual degree, then you would need to mention that as well. So if are you getting a dual degree or a dual major, then you can simply select yes and no. Then another important information here is about, is your program full-time or is it a half-time or part-time? So according to your program requirements, you have to select that option. Now, if you are an existing student, again, the website would be asking you about what is your cumulative GPA. So as I stated earlier, if you are an existing student, you need to mention the one that is your current GPA. And if you are not an existing student coming for the first time, then you can simply leave that option. Coming to the next, and it is also one of the most important information, is that if you are enrolled or if your major is in the field of science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. So if you are opting for any of these programs or course related to these majors, it would be most probably a STEM designated program. So you would need to select yes. And if it is not a STEM program, then you can simply select no as an option. Now, again, we have few more options available here about the like what kind of program it is. Are you going to be an on-campus student? Is it an online program, or is it going to be a hybrid program? So this gives us better understanding depending on what kind of program you are in and how long you are going to be there in the school country. So if it is an on-campus, you are going to attend all the classes in US or Canada, then that is the option you have to select. If your program is a part-time and you have to do it online, so you can mention that as an online. Or if it is in hybrid, like 1 year you would be studying on campus and the remaining year you would be doing it online, then you can mention that as the option. Going forward to the next page, it will ask you what is your grade level. Now, if you are a master student and applying for the first time, you would be mentioning third year graduate because you have already done your graduation. And if you are a bachelor student and you are in your fourth year or fifth year or any year you are in one of these options, then you would need to mention that. So do remember to select the right option according to your requirements. And then again, it will ask you what kind of enrollment status it would be. Is it full-time and half-time? I know it's asking you again these information, but it is very important for us to finalize these informations before we complete the review so that we can provide you with the most accurate decision while taking everything into consideration. Next step after this is regarding your exams if you have given before applying for the university. So as an international student, there are certain requirements that you would need to meet before you get the enrollment with the university. There are some universities who would be asking you regarding to apply for standardized tests. It can be GRE, GMAT, AMSAT, or even TOEFL. So you can mention if any of the programs that you have given, and we also have an option as a waive. So if you have not given any tests, then you can select that it's not part of your requirements. Again, if you have given any of the English language test, which would be TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo, you can mention the one and you can mention the scores next to that. Otherwise, if you have not taken any of the programs, you can see that the option of waived or haven't taken is available for you. Now, going to the third step is that if you are an currently employed applicant, like you are an existing job person and you are now planning to increase your education as well, and you are trying to go to international studies, then if you are an existing employee or you are currently employed, then that is the option you would need to select. Most of the students are applying for the first time and they have no experiences, so nothing bad about it. So you can select I have no employment history, so that's the option you would need to select. And the second option which you see here is that you are not currently employed, but you have been employed in past, meaning that before applying for this program, you were working anywhere, but now you are currently preparing for your education. So that's the second option you can select. So select the most suitable option here regarding your employment details, and then simply click on next. After that, coming to the fourth and the most critical step while submitting the application is regarding your financial informations. Now, please remember is that you would need to go towards your university website or your financial aid office or the academic counselor to understand what is going to be your best cost of tuition. So you can first talk with them and understand what is your actual requirements. And once you have the details of that, then you can mention it in this particular application format. So even if you are not sure about the accurate details, but if you are aware about the nearby cost of tuition, you can mention that as well, because we would be also rechecking these informations that you have submitted. So you can mention what is going to be your tuition cost, and that needs to be for 1 year. So as mentioned on the website, total estimated cost for 1 year. So you just have to mention what is going to be your cost for that particular year that you are applying for, and then we would be automatically calculating it for you for the entire duration of the program. So then you have to mention, as per your requirements, what is going to be a cost of living. So cost of living can be different for each individual. It can be based on if you are an in-campus student or you are an out-campus student. So depending on your requirement, you can mention whatever is going to be your cost of living. If you have any additional cost which you would like to mention here apart from your health insurance cost, you can mention all these informations and click next. The moment you will click next, the next option would be this. So we would be calculating your total financial requirement as per the duration of the program that you have opted. So if you have 2 years remaining and you have opted that 1 year, the total cost is $30,000. The website will automatically calculate the entire funding that you would need for the program and will show you at this particular screen. Then you have the option, and the most critical option that you are started your application with us is that how much you require. So understanding your requirement is also most important information here, is that if you require 40,000, 50,000 or any X amount, you can mention the same here. Now, while we would be doing this, we would be seeing that depending on the requested amount and your total cost, if there is any kind of funding gap. Now, don't worry when you see a funding gap here. It's just simply an information that we are seeking from you to understand whether you have all the relevant funds available for you to complete your program, which includes your cost of living and tuition. So let's just say you are only asking 50,000 from MPOWER, but you have tuition, or your tuition requirement is $80,000, but you do not have any funds to cover up that 40,000 gap. Because let's just say 50,000 will be given from MPOWER, then you still require another 40,000 to meet your 90,000 tuition requirements. So that's the reason why we ask you the details. So if you have any funding that you would like to add here, like it can be your personal savings, it can be any kind of scholarships that you have received from the university, or your employer has provided you with any financial support, or even your family and friends if they are helping you with any kind of funding sources. So all you would need to do is that if you are providing any funding source, which is your personal funding source, you can provide your latest bank statement showing us the proof of those funds to us, allow us to verify the same. But in case if it is your friends and family, then we would ask you to provide 2 additional documents apart from their bank statement, which would be the scholarship, sponsorship support letter, and their valid photo ID. So these will be few additional information that your relationship manager would be seeking with you. Now, once you have provided these details, the next step is to upload your ID, and mostly we would recommend you to upload your passport if you are an international student, because it's one of the major requirements. But let's just say your passport has expired right now and you have reapplied for it, but you don't have an active passport right now, then you can upload your previous passport with the application that you have submitted for your renewal passport. Or if you don't have any passport right now and you have just applied, so you can upload any of the other national ID, photo ID that you have available from your country. So India, you can upload your Aadhaar card, you can upload your driving license, and for other countries, for Nigeria, Ghana, it can be their national valid photo ID, along with if you are in citizenship of US or Canada, then you can upload the driving license as well. So any of these IDs will be sufficient for us to verify your informations and proceed ahead. So once you have uploaded all these informations, the next step would be this. So the website will automatically show that you have a conditional offer. Now, conditional offer means that whatever informations that you have submitted to us, we have considered your application, and in order to go ahead and make the final call or final decision on your application, we would now request you to submit all the required documents so that we can review that and then provide you with the outcome. So that's all from my end. And once you have submitted your application, we would have a dedicated relationship manager assigned to you who would be assisting you from part to part of your journey. So please feel free to reach out us at empower.me@empowerfinancing.com as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so a few questions about this. We will definitely send out a recording of this webinar, so don't worry if you didn't catch every detail. We'll be sending that out in a moment, in addition to the slides we used. And so we are in the last 10 minutes or so of our webinar. So if you have a question and haven't asked it yet, now is definitely the time. Please go ahead and put that in the Q&A so we can get back to you before the end of this session. But I think I would see a few common questions from our audience today. And so team, I'm going to see if you guys can help out for some of the most common questions we're receiving. So first up, Ron, I see a lot of questions today about English test scores and, when do you need them for the loan? When do you not need them for the loan? Does Empower require them? Can you explain in some greater detail about when we require English test scores and how that works for us?
Yeah, definitely. So I know for a fact the English test scores and standardized test scores both are a part of our application process. I'm sure Surya will just walk you through it. And so the way that actually works is only if you required your test score or the standardized test score to submit for your admission, that's the only time you need to enter it. So say you're going to university, you apply to NYU, so New York University, and in the New York University application, you took a GRE test and you took a TOEFL test or the IELTS test. If you already have the results, then you can upload it in your application and just give us the scores that you got. If you hadn't had a need to take any of those tests and you still got your admission, then it's not required. You can say that the program was not required, like the tests were not required, and you still got your admission. And I think there's a checkbox on the website that lets you select that option where it's not required.
Thank you, Ron. So I have one for Suryaveer. So what are some of the most common mistakes you see that you think our audience can control for? I know you mentioned a few, but of all the things you run into, what's the most common mistake?
So the common mistakes that we have been able to see is regarding the permanent address and the current address details. So sometimes they miss out and provide same address, or if they are in US, they provide their US address as permanent as well as current. So what we mean by permanent address is your home country address from where you belong, from your citizenship. Another common concerns that comes around is regarding their financial requirements. So if you are not wasting your personal fundings or any funding sources correctly, and if you are, for example, pasted or mentioned that you have $10,000 of personal funding, but the document only has $2,000 of proofs. So those are the common areas that you can look into before mentioning that in your application, so that we have accurate information to provide you a result out.
Awesome. Thank you. And so back to Ron. Ron, many people want to know what the most common reason for a loan denial is, or a common reasons for we might decline a loan. Can you explain more about how those decisions are made?
So I'll take you through the most common ones. The first one would probably be the one for the unsustainable debt. That decline reason mostly has to do with when you graduate from your program, we don't think the debt is sustainable for you to maintain. So that means we don't think you'll be able to make the payments on that debt, and it'll put you in too much of a financial burden where you won't be able to survive because you won't make enough money to pay off your debt. So that's one of the main reasons that we decline applicants. The second one is if you have maybe delinquent past or present credit obligations. Maybe you were not able to pay off a loan in the past, or maybe you defaulted on a loan. That's one of the main reasons a lot of people get declined in our loan application. And another one would be if your GPA is really low. But that's only if you're in school in the US. That's more specific if you're already in school, and it doesn't really affect if you're not in school, because if you're not in school yet, we don't look at any of your past GPAs, anything of that sort. It's only if you're currently in school. I think these are the three major reasons. We have like another small reasons that people can get declined for, but those ones are very small in number. I would say probably 10 in a month or 20 in a month. So I'm not really going to cover those, but the main ones that I covered, one is for unsustainable debt. It basically means like the debt is too big for you to kind of sustain. And the second one is going to be delinquent past to present credit obligations. That means you kind of had a default in the past and you hadn't paid it off, and that's one of the main reasons.
Thank you, Ron. And so, Suryaveer, I'm just like ping-ponging back to you, Suryaveer. So many people have something they want to change either before they submit the application. I see those questions, as well as after they submit the application. And we actually have a few people that have been approved or signed the loan offer and want to change some of the disbursement stuff. So can you provide sort of some information about how to best reach out to us depending on where you are in our application process?
Absolutely. So I do understand that while submitting the application, you might not have all the relevant informations or accurate details. So once you have submitted your application and you would like to make any changes regarding your financial details that you have shared, or even your permanent address, current address informations, those are certain details that we can allow or we can modify in your application. So you just have to drop us an email regarding those updates. But informations regarding your school or the program, that is something we can't change in the same application. So if you would like to apply or if you would like to change your program now, you would need to start a fresh application with us. Now, all these are possible for pre-approvals. So let's just say, hoping that your application went through and you got approval from MPOWER. Now, once you have received the approval, now that becomes very difficult for us to make any changes afterwards, meaning that if you want an increase in your loan amount, that would be not a possibility here. But if you want any kind of deduction in your loan amount which has been approved and you would like to change the amount that wants to be disbursed. So for example, your disbursement is divided into 2 installments of 25,000 each for August and December, but you actually don't require now the entire 25,000 and you want that your amount needs to be deducted by 5,000 or as per your situation. So we do allow that flexibility to make those changes, but only request to all the applicants is to reach out us at least 2 weeks prior before the day of disbursement so that we can act accordingly and we can disburse as per your requirements.
Thank you so much. And so I have one more question for Ron, and then we're going to wrap this up. So Ron, we're receiving questions about how the loan can be used, what can it be used for, and how that might differ for the Canada versus United States. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so the loan can be used in the United States for pretty much everything. It can be used for your tuition cost and living expenses. It can be used. And another question that I saw, and I want to cover it over here, the time of when you get the money from your school, it doesn't depend on MPOWER. It really depends on the school and when they request the funds from us. So if you need the funds a little earlier or a little later, you'll need to work with your school, and the school actually tells us the date, so when to send the funds to them. And as soon as they receive the funds, they'll be able to give the funds to you. So I wanted to cover that. This is more specifically for the US schools. US schools, we cover any kind of expenses, tuition, living, and the date for the funds, you can just work with your school and they will tell us when to give the funds to you. For Canada, it's a little bit different. For Canada, we do not offer living expenses. For most schools, There are a couple of exceptions, and if you're in the exception schools, there's nothing new that you have to do. It'll automatically be done by MPOWER, so you don't have to you don't have to change any of your, you don't have to do anything basically. But for most other schools in Canada, which is I think 90% of our Canadian schools that we support, we do not cover any living expenses there. And yeah, so that's the main change between the US and Canada.
Great, thank you, Ron. So I have two last questions for you both. Silver has some internet issues, so we will be skipping her unless she suddenly rejoins us. But so last questions are twofold. One is, of everything mentioned today, or even something you didn't mention, what is your one piece of advice for our future or current international students? So one is a piece of advice. The other one is, we know MPOWER is the best option for international students, but why do you specifically think MPOWER is awesome and the best option for international students? So two questions. If you forget, I'll remind you, but I'm going to start with Ron.
Okay, so the first one is the piece of advice. I think I give this every webinar. Be very open when you go to the US or whichever new country you go to. There are going to be a lot of new experience that you're going to experience. So be open to that. And you'll have a little bit of culture shock, and you'll have all of those kind of experiences. And that's part of the whole experience of leaving your country and being open to new things and exposing yourself to new things. So do that. Another quick piece of advice is, it kind of covered under there, by being open to new experiences. Learn to network a lot. That's very, very important in the US. So the bigger your network, the easier it is for you to land a job. So yeah, network a lot and be open to new experiences are my two pieces of advice. And for me, why I think MPOWER is the best loan product or the best company, I'll give you both answers. We are the best loan product because we are a fixed rate product currently, and in the market of raising interest rates, nothing can beat a fixed rate loan product. I'm not the only person who says that. You can ask any professional who works in finance, they will give you the same answer. In rising interest rate environment, a fixed rate product is unbeatable. And why MPOWER is the best place to work? I think it's the people. Everyone here is kind of the same mindset, and everyone have the same values. Everyone wants to help international students to achieve their dreams. And that's why this company is the best company to be working for.
Thank you so much, Ron. So same question, Suryaveer. Are you ready?
Well, Ron covered all of the points. I did not left any for me. But yes, one piece of advice I'll limit it to the process part here, is that while applying for a loan, you can definitely apply for multiple schools at a time if you are not sure about which university you want to go ahead. But we will always recommend that once you have applied, you would need to finalize which one you would like to proceed ahead, so that we can assist you on a timely manner and your application process goes neatly. So when you have duplicate applications or multiple applications, then it causes a lot of confusion and it might leads to a delay in decision. So while applying, please be sure about, or at least communicate with your relationship manager regarding your understanding. So give us a better understanding, like which one you are more interested for, and we can prioritize it accordingly. Regarding why MPOWER is the best, as adding to the Ron points, is that apart from fixed interest rates and all the merits that you receive from MPOWER, we are not a company that leaves you after giving you the loan, right? Now, what I mean by that is that we are with you till the end of your graduation. After that, we are also assisting you with Path to Success programs and other professional requirements. So it's not about just lending, it's also about making it impactful for your journey. So you don't feel left out while you are in US. We are always there to assist you in each possible way as per the company. So that's why we are the best.
Thank you both so much. And a thank you to Silver, who was not able to rejoin. So we have reached the end of our live session, and we started a smidge late, and so we're ending a smidge late. But right after this, we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar, the slides we reviewed, as well as a survey. We read every survey to figure out what we can do better, what other topics you want to hear from. And so please complete that survey so we can improve these for you and future international students. Further, we run these on Wednesdays every week or every other week. So keep checking your email or inbox for future topics. We change them up so you can learn more about the other aspects of studying abroad. But once again, thank you so much. We'll leave the session on for a moment or so. If you want to leave an email address, if we didn't get to your question, we'll be able to follow up later. So feel free to send that along. But thank you both. Great time as always. And until next time, thanks again all.